Well, hello there, beautiful humans. It's day 3 of my freezing cold ice water hunt at the cottage. Every day, the ice goes out a little bit more and a little bit more of the beach is exposed. So I'm going to get really intrepid and go further down the beach toward the lot where there used to be a summer camp for children. So we'll see if I can get around to their swimming area without coming to a mishap. My rubber boots aren't all that tall, so I need to watch the depth. Anyway, I'm glad to report that the surgical glove deal actually worked pretty well. The rubber gloves over the garden gloves that I use for metal detecting has kept the gloves dry and my hands warm until I punctured it, and one hand got kind of wet. But that's okay. I'm learning as I go, and I feel very, very intrepid. I'm going to spin you around and show you how much the ice has gone out. It's really unbelievable. So wow, look at this. We have hardly any snow left. It literally came down in the space of a couple of days. We had heaps and heaps of snow on Tuesday. By Thursday, there was almost no snow in town at all. When we came up here on Friday, we were amazed at how much it had gone down. And as you can see, the ice is out at varying depths. And then there's kind of a pan of thin ice there. And that blows around with the wind. And then beyond that, you can see toward the marker, it's open water because there's current there. So that is always open, even in the depth of winter. There's always some open water there from the current. So I'm going to be heading over this way. And I don't know if you can see right there. See that little square object there? That's our dock bench. We had our dock bench right here on the ice because we had a skating rink here. Where this pan of ice is now, that was the skating rink that we made, and the bench was for us to sit on, to put our skates on and not take them off, and to have a little rest. And the ice floe that it was sitting on broke away, and the current has taken it almost as far as our neighbors. And it's still bravely floating there, but I don't know for how much longer. And I don't know if it's going to get into shore before it sinks. So we might be out of a bench. We might have to go scuba diving sometime to pick it up in the summer. Anyway, enough jabbering. I'm going to get my coil down into the ice water again, and I will check back with you. I don't know if you can hear this, but the ice is fizzing. It's buzzing. So I'm over at the next beach now. You can see our dock there. And I had to clamber over all these rocks, which doesn't look like much, but when you're trying not to get a soaker and you're trying to keep your machine out of the water, these rocks can be quite slippery because they have algae on them. At this time of year, it's not bad, but in the summer, they're super slippery. But look, I have lots of easily accessible beach here, sand. And I believe this is where the children used to swim. You can see there's a bucket up there. That's left over from something. Up here in the woods, there's remains of like the foundations of a cabin and like the pilings, the concrete pilings that the cabin used to stand on. There's also an old stove and an old fridge and just remains from the camp. Because back then everything had to be brought in by boat because there was no road. So now you know where I'm at. I'll get swinging. I found a piece of a bed frame. It was down in this rivulet between these two rocks. And you can see from the rusted barrel I think the cabin might have been up on that high ground there. And around this lot you can see, I can't see one right now, cylindrical concrete forms that the cabin used to sit on. And here's Urkel the Wonder Dog, come to find out what Mistress is doing. He's going to be a good little detectorist dog someday. Hi, Urkel. Oh, very brave. Yes. Don't wee-wee on my machine, okay? The chirping. The detector's picking up his collar tags. I've got over so far that there's our poor dock bench. I'll swing you over to where our dock is. There it is there. Shannon has gone away. She's drifted out to sea. She always liked to swim away. I thought I wouldn't get a coin, but there it is. Right there in my shovel. It's a Canadian copper penny, obviously. It rang up like that. I'll give it a swish and see what it really is. Holy smokes, it's a 1953. Good day to you, Mom. Your first year on the throne. Oh, that's wonderful. Obviously, that's my oldest Elizabeth penny ever dug. Isn't it beautiful? 1953 copper penny with a young queen. Good day to you, Mom. And here is its twin. Not quite. It's a 1959. And I scratched the queen with my shovel. I'm so ashamed. Do forgive me, Mom. But that's not all. I'll tuck that away. So there was the first penny. And here is this penny. And listen to this. There's another one right there. I got myself a 1950s pocket spill. My parents-in-law didn't buy this property until 1959. So these coins were dropped very soon after they bought the property. Can you see it shining there on my shovel? Maybe not. It's a bit turbid now that I've been digging. Here we go. See? The third penny of my penny spill. I wonder what it is. Well, for heaven's sake, it's an American penny. Oh my gosh, it's a wheat cent. Oh, how fabulous is that? So the latest that can be is 1959. Let me get my glasses off so I can see the date. It looks like a 1956 plain. Well, good afternoon, Mr. Lincoln. Thank you for visiting. Ha! That's fabulous. That's the third wheat cent I've pulled off this property. So, a 3-penny 1950s coin spill. I'm going to call that my last plug because I've split my glove and my hands are cold, and it's time to go in on a happy note. Meet you at the cleanup. Hello again, beautiful humans, and welcome to the cleanup of my third hunt on the icy beach. I went quite a bit further along the beach today, and I found plenty of junk, as you can see here, but I did find some good stuff too. So there was an area near where the camp was that I found lots of glass and pottery. So that's obviously from that. We don't want glass in the beach, so I'm going to throw that out. A couple of rusty nails, piece of a can. This random piece of rust rang up so much better than it deserved to, and so did this little rusty angle. 2 little lumps of aluminum slag. This is what happens when you throw a pop can into a campfire. You get these nifty little nuggets, which are a beguiling yellow color, but they sure aren't gold. A piece of a float of some kind, of pool noodle or something. I take plastic off the beach whenever I can. A couple of pull tabs, an older ring pull, and a newer pull tab. So that's the trash. Enough time for that. I found a very interesting bottle. Some of you will recognize this, some of you of a certain age. This was affectionately known as a stubby. It's an old-timey beer bottle. They stopped using these probably in the early 70s. But this is in remarkable condition. There are no chips on it. It just looks like it was placed on the beach yesterday. It's not ground down by sand or anything. There's no chips. It's absolutely gorgeous. So, oh, look, it says Canada on the bottom. How nice is that? So that might become a little vase or something, just for historical sake. I found a couple of nice pieces of Muskoka quartz here, lovely and white, and an interesting little stone that has a stripe on it. So I don't know if I can turn that into a necklace or something. Who knows? Found a little grommet, a nice little brass wing nut that rang up so sweetly. I didn't know what I was after, but oh boy. Well, I found it at last, but my fingers were sure cold. I got some kind of a knob, plastic knob of a timer or something. A piece of copper trim of some kind. It looks like there were bolt holes on either end. No idea. Copper wire. And this was very, very cool. These 3 pennies, 3 copper pennies, were in a spill. They were no more than 3 feet from the first to the last, and they were kind of in a row. So somebody must have had a hole in his pocket or something as he was coming out of his boat. The first one was in 1953, coronation year for Queen Elizabeth II. And then there was a 1959. And then, this was a big surprise, a 1956 plain wheat cent from the USA. So, welcome, neighbor. And on the way back to the cottage, just before I left the beach, I found what I think is a 1964. Yeah, 1964 Canadian. So all 3 of my Canadian pennies have the first portrait of the Queen. and a visit from Uncle Sam. Maybe I can put my pennies in my stubby. Nope, they don't fit. Okay, friends, thanks for coming by. Until I see you again, here's Auntie waving goodbye. Toodaloo!